Hi, this is Cole Hamels. Welcome to the Philly Show.
Ruben Amaro Jr., Jim Salisbury, Todd Zolecki. It's Monday, April 21st, 2025. Ruben, that was your broadcast partner, Cole Hamels, introducing the show today.
He did a nice job yesterday. It's the very first time he was doing a regular season game, and I think he did a nice job. It's never easy with a three-man booth, and it's never easy for your first time, but I thought he did great. What'd you guys think?
Yeah, I thought he was
very good. Really good.
Yeah, I think people, it's really hard when you get in there for the first time. I mean, I've never obviously done a broadcast like that before, but I have done some TV before, and I'm telling you, the first 30, 40, 50 times you're worried about just like screwing up, and you're trying to get confident, you're trying to feel comfortable. So yeah, I thought he did.
Still worried about screwing up
every time.
I've been doing it for 5 years.
You get butterflies every time.
I did once an MLB Network hit back when they used to use us. They don't really use us that much, but they used to use us a lot on the show called The Rundown. And back in the day when I first started doing it, it was a live hit. And Shane Victorino knew I was live, came behind me, was like, had a garbage can. He was shaking the garbage in front of me. I was stumbling and fumbling and mumbling, and he thought it was so freaking funny. And I went up to him afterwards and go, "You can't do that."
And your booty was like
job. This. Yeah, exactly right. I said, "You're going to cost me my job. Please don't do that. If I say the wrong thing, I'm going to be in deep, deep trouble." So anyway.
I was doing a hit at the winter meetings once years ago, and I was talking about pitchers, and I was trying to talk about free agent Brandon Lyon, Lyon, but all I could see in my head was pitcher Brandon Webb, Webb, two monosyllabic short last names, and I got stuck. And I'm going hamana right on live TV. And Rob Kessner, our producer, yells from the 10 feet away. He goes, "Lion!" And I, "Lion."
I've frozen a couple times on MLB Network. I'm like, I forgot what I was talking about.
Anyway, yeah. So Cole did a good job today. He's only going to get better. It's cool to see him in the booth with you guys, you and Tom. It was fun today. Other than, I guess, the result, of course, Phillies fumble away a win against a team that I was talking to somebody yesterday in the press box. Says that is one of the worst teams I've seen in a long time in the Miami Marlins. I mean, let's just be honest. And they should have won that game. They should have swept the series. You got to win. Winning series is great, but felt like they let that one get away. Ruben, you were in the booth. You had to analyze every misstep in the late innings. What did you think of the series?
Glad I wasn't the GM for that game. I would have been throwing stuff up against the wall. Anytime you let a team hang in there for a while, I mean, they got out to a great start, banged Gillespie around a little bit, and Gillespie really doesn't have anything. He really doesn't have a lot. I don't believe that he's a major league caliber starter in my estimation, just with his overall stuff, but he's pitching in the major leagues, and, the Marlins are a transitional team. They got off to a good start, but didn't add on. I mean, Gillespie sort of settled in and stymied him after that, but they still should have won the ball game. And late in the game, Orion, they left him hang around a little bit. Orion Kerkering hangs a breaking ball to Sanoa, and Sanoa had a career day, 5 RBIs, drove in a bunch of runs, got a big home run. It was a gift served on a platter. They didn't play great defense.
No.
Luzardo was outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Love the way Luzardo is pitching. He is more than they asked for, and frankly, I'm not surprised that he's pitching that good, because I think he always had a great arm and has good stuff. But the bullpen just hasn't been very good, especially the last 2 days. And you got to be better than that. You just have to be better than that on both sides of the ball. And they sort of lazied that game away, both defensively and pitching wise. And you can't do that. You can't just give games away, especially when you're going into a New York and the Chicago Cubs series. It's going to be real rough.
Almost fumbled away Saturday's game.
Yeah.
When you think about it, that would have been
no doubt.
Imagine
And they
losing
ended
2
up
or 3
having
to that team.
ended up having to use Alvarado, and Alvarado's pitching now back to back, so you probably can't use him on Monday.
Right.
Against the Mets, if you have a lead, so it puts guys in a tough position. I mean, and listen, O'Reilly Kirkring's going to have to step forward and pitch better. He spun a breaking ball. It was obvious that the whole team was looking for his breaking ball every single pitch, sitting on it. First pitch, breaking ball, bang, base hit by Norby. Next, I mean, they were sitting on his breaking stuff. Still had a chance to get out of it, and then spun on a breaking ball after beating him, Sano with a couple of fastballs. Decided to go back to that bread and butter breaking ball, but you got to bounce it. You got
All right, how does he
get down?
How does he adjust, Ruben? Hard sinkers in?
Well, his hard sinker in was good.
To set,
He
but
was
he's
really
maybe
good with it.
More of them to set that pitch up?
No question. He's going to have to bury that sinker, which he did pretty well. But then, when it gets right down to him, when he feels like he has to make a pitch, he's going to throw a slider, and the whole world knows it. But it's the command. But it's the command and the execution. He spun that right in the middle of the plate, and Sanoa took advantage of it and hit a home run.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has not really thrown the sinker very much, and that was a thing that I think he had talked about maybe throwing a little bit more. But coming into today's game, he had only thrown 10 sinkers all season. That's less than 10% of all of his pitches. I don't know what the number is there. If
he threw more of them on Sunday.
Sunday.
But that's got to be a pitch for him, because he's got to get the right-handers off, leaning out over the plate, looking for the spinner.
Right.
So where's the concern level for the bullpen, Todd?
Boy, I tell you what, I'm very interested to see like what Jordan Romano does next, because it's funny. I wrote on Thursday for my Phillies Beat newsletter. I broke down. He was so inconsistent in his first 5 appearances, right? It was the fastball was 98. The next pitch, it was 91. Then it was 93. He was getting hit hard. He wasn't really able to locate anything. And then his last 3 entering Saturday, he was pretty good. 3 scoreless innings, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. The velo was up. And so I talked to him, and he kind of talked about this mechanical shift was less exaggerated. Remember, like on opening day, it was almost like straight out, almost horizontal. Now is more of a 90-degree bend, I guess you could say. And so I wrote about that. And then Saturday he comes out. First batter, I think, was like 99.8. I'm going, here we go. Jordan Romano is about to take off. He's about to take off. And then he just got rocked. And that's not my words. Those were his words. He said it twice after the game on Saturday. He says, I don't know. Very strange. I don't know what to say other than I got rocked. And he did get rocked. He gave up 6 runs. I looked it up. He had never given up more than 3 runs in a game before. And in fact, that was so surprising. I had somebody else like double check my search. I said, is this right? He's never given up more than 3 runs until today. And today he gave up 6. And it's weird. It's concerning. They need him to be better. The fact that his velo is up and his stuff was better, I guess, makes me a little very, very, very cautiously optimistic that it was maybe just a bad appearance. Maybe he was tipping his pitches. I did ask him that. I said, are you going to look and see if you were tipping your pitches? He said, oh yes, for sure. He says, if it was a few bloopers and bleeders and broken batters, I would not. But the fact that they were squaring up everything and I was kind of doing everything that I wanted to do, I'm definitely going to be looking at film. So I'll be curious to see if anything comes out of that.
Yeah, his next outing is going to be very interesting. Given that his stuff was up and he had no results, and they banged him good, and I'm sure it's going to come in Citi Field. I'm really curious to see how he rebounds from that. It's a test. They've been using a ton of leverage relievers and getting very mixed results. I can almost see you can almost hear it, the swell that you're going to need help in the bullpen.
Well, that was a concern of mine right out of the chute. I mean, even I mean, obviously you lost Hoffman, and he signed a very lucrative deal. He's pitching very well, so that makes it hurt even more. Obviously, I don't think the Phillies were prepared to give him those kind of numbers. A little concerned about some of the health long term and all other stuff, but it's hard to build a bullpen. It's one of the hardest things to do, and it's very volatile and very inconsistent. And actually, I think that both the Ross and the Romano signings were pretty good signings. I think they're pretty solid signings. But I think more than anything else, for Romano, I think he's got his mechanics together. I think he is absolutely tipping his pitches. And I think he also is not changing the eye level. There's two things to unpack here for me. He's got to change the eye level on some of his pitches, number one, because everything is up in the zone. Up, 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 up. He threw one pitch down in the zone that I think hit the dirt. But the rest of his pitches, I don't know how many pitches he threw, maybe 25 pitches, 20 pitches. It happened fast. And they're all up in the zone. And so if you're a hitter and you know you're going to get something up and it's hittable, I'm going to go get it. I think they had such good swings on him that there's no question in my mind that he was tipping his pitches.
Okay.
And, you got a Miami team that is just super, uber aggressive. Dude, they swung at almost every first pitch against Luzardo. I mean, they're hacking, man. And they don't want to see that breaking ball. They want to see the fastball. If the fastball's coming or whatever it is that they're looking for, they're hacking at it. And so it's got to get straightened out. I was encouraged by the velocity. He threw 100 miles an hour. I mean, he was bringing the noise. And his breaking ball was, fairly sharp at times. But it's got to get better. And he's going to have to make an adjustment.
Jim, I want to get your thoughts on the bullpen right after these words.
Podfather, I love the way that modern technology has changed the way that we buy, sell, trade cards, even rip packs. They're called slab packs, and they're on Arena Club. No more shuffling through everything. The common cards are all over the place. Stuff's getting folded out and all messed up. Arena Club keeps it nice and tight in your digital showroom. And then when you want that card and you want to show it off, what do? You just let Arena Club know.
Let them know and grab it and take it with you. Show it off online. I think this is huge just because the fact that you talked about cutting the corners. You want to get a card that doesn't break or doesn't have a problem with it, go right to Arena Club. They have everything you need. Easy money right there for really, really good, exceptional cards.
After your pulls are revealed, they'll immediately be placed in your vault for safekeeping or trading and selling. Right now, 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/Val and use code FOUL. That's arenaclub.com/Val, code FOUL for 20% off your first purchase.
We are back. Jim, where are you at in this bullpen?
Well, I do think come trade deadline, it's going to be an area they're going to have to address because, they got like 4 leverage guys and they're getting mixed results from them and they're leaning heavily on them. I love what I see of Alvarado.
So good.
His, triple digit on Sunday, he was triple digits and you could not locate that pitch any better. He was into righties on the black, no chance. It's exciting to see. It does stink you had to use them 2 days in a row going into a big series in New York when you didn't have to use them on Saturday. Should not have had to use them, I should say. Ryan Kirkland, I think he just had a tough day. I do agree with Ruben that hitters, they'll dive a little bit at that breaking ball. I remember years ago when Cole Hamels developed that cutter to kind of go in on righties because they would dive at the changeup and they would dive at the sinker, and he just needed something to go that way. And if Kirkering he's got that. He does have that. Maybe he just needs to scrub it up and use it more. I still think he's going to be an improved pitcher this year and have a good one. And I'm not ready to pronounce the Romano signing a dud at all. I think he's going through an adjustment period, coming back from an injury. It was encouraging that the velo popped pretty good on Saturday. Very accountable guy. Seems like a very hard worker who is resolved to fix this thing. And I know it glares a little bit because it's early in the season. I know it glares because Hoffman's off to a good start. But, I feel okay about that signing. I mean, time will tell. It's a long, long season, but I do think they're going to be thin down there in leverage, and everybody kind of knows it. And I expect that to be an area they address at the trade deadline. But you know what? Every contender addresses their bullpen at the trade deadline. So what are we talking about? It's happened that way for years.
I think that it's disappointing right now, obviously, because the bullpen has really been struggling. But they have ability and they have personnel down there. They just have to get better, and they have to improve. I think that they will. How much they will depend. I mean, right now, Rob Thompson, I mean, I was thinking about this today because Luzardo was at 88 pitches when they pulled him in the 7th inning, and he was throwing the ball well. But Rob Thompson has to find out, and he's got to get those guys ready. And what better time to find out about where they are than to get them out there and see what they can do and get them right. I mean, they got to get the reps. They got to put them in those positions to be able to do that, so he can find out whether he can trust them, and whether he can trust them, and 2, they can improve. So he's going to keep running them out there until he proves. It may be a month, it might be 2 months, whatever it is. He's going to keep running them out there and find out whether these guys can really get the job done. I think that they have the ability to do it, but they also have to be smart. And Kirkring's been in there long enough to know that he's got to throw a slider or that sweeper, whatever he throws. He's got to execute it, and he's got to get it down and away. And he's got to make the pitch when he has to make the pitch in the tight, because that's going to be his job, and he's going to have to work his way through it.
Guys, it's Monday. It's time for Best Week by Manco and Manco. Manco and Manco, the best of the best. Best Week by Manco where we pick our best Phillies player, performance, play, whatever we want to pick. Guys, do you have a Best Week mention, Jim?
Wow. A lot of
Giants. Yeah, they split against the Giants. They take 2 out of 3 of the Marlins, but who do you got?
A lot of candidates. Hat tip to Rojas on how he swung it over the weekend. Hat tip to Bryson Stott, looking good in that leadoff hole. But a major hat tip, the Manco's selection, best of the week, best of the best. For me, Christopher Sanchez.
Yes.
That was, as we established on Friday, that was muy delicioso. I mean, 12 strikeouts, 98 on the fastball, and then just a brilliant, dazzling changeup in the shadows. And getting those 12 strikeouts, 11 of them finishing on changeups. So he threw 97 pitches, and 52 of them were changeups, I think, or 50 of them were changeup. Yeah. So he threw 50. Riddle me this, as they say. If one throws 52 changeups, and that's the pitch you throw most that day, does that actually make your fastball your changeup? If you're relying that much on changeup,
is that your change of pace?
Your change of pace is actually your fastball.
That's right.
Boom.
We're getting
I'm no mathematician, but
you're getting philosophical. I like that, Jim.
I did have
You're
a logic.
Philosophical man.
I had a logic course in college, and that's I wasn't very good at it. But that's,
Todd, what do you got? What do you got?
I've got I'm going to take Bryce Harper. I'm going to take Bryce Harper best week, and I say that because of something he said on Sunday in St. Louis. In St. Louis, they go 2-4 in that road trip. The offense is scuffling. I said, "How do you think you're swinging the bat right now, Bryce?" And he goes, "Well, I think I hit the ball hard in Atlanta. I think I hit the ball hard in St. Louis this weekend. Didn't really have anything to show for it. But I told Kevin Long the other day, I'm about, give me about 10 days and I'll be good." Day 10, I believe, was on Wednesday, and he hit 3 home runs this past week. He seems to be getting locked into play. Bryce Harper, the last 7 games, batting .320, 2 doubles, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, a 1.229 OPS. So it just, listen, I've never come close to the big leagues, obviously. So anytime I hear a player talk like that, like, yeah, I'm kind of getting close. Give me a few days. I'm seeing better pitch. I'm seeing the ball better. I think I'm going to get locked in. And then he actually does it. To me, that's very impressive. So I'm going with Bryce Harper, my best week by Manco and Manco.
That's a very, very good call. I'm going to throw a breaking ball on you guys here because I said one thing, but I'm going to go audible. And I'm going to go with Bryson Stott for best of the best.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Bryson Stott because I think he's done a hell of a job in the leadoff slot. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. I think on Saturday he saw 37 pitches. 37 pitches in 5 plate appearances. That's insane. That's almost 7 an at bat. He's doing exactly what you're supposed to do. He's getting on base. He's stealing bases. He's doing a lot of great things. Made some great defensive plays. Now, on Sunday, got a little casual, ended up making a pretty major blunder there, which is very uncharacteristic of him because I think he's the best second baseman in the league. But this man has done a really good job in the one hole. I like it. I like the fact that he is looking healthy with his elbow. He's hitting the ball low to left, high to right, which is exactly what Rob Thompson's talked about. He's working counts. I actually wish that he gets a chance to hit in the one hole against the lefties. I don't think Rob Thompson's going to allow him to do that yet, but I'd like to see that. I really would. Because I think when he's confident and he feels comfortable with the dish, he can handle left-handers. He can massage some balls to left. He can work the counts. He can see pitches. And I don't know. I like the way he runs the bases, man. He's a very heady base runner. I think he can do a lot of things. I'm going to give him the best of the best. Manco best of the best for the week. Bryson Stott.
That's a great call. So Bryson is now his last 8 games started all in the leadoff spot. He's batting .294 with a .342 on base. So that's what you want. You mentioned all those pitches seen on Saturday, Ruben. Bryce Harper's a big fan of leadoff hitter, getting a lot of pitches. He's talked about that. That's why he does not like to hit leadoff. He likes to see pitches. Yep. So he likes a guy that sees a lot of pitches. And Bryson, after the game on Saturday, talked to him about it. He says, I feel like it's my responsibility to make sure Trey, Bryce, Kyle, everybody else in that lineup sees as many pitches in that first plate appearance as possible to kind of get them ready for their at bat. So you're right. That was impressive.
I was going to mention that. So seeing pitches, the benefit is twofold. You're grinding that guy on the mound, you're wearing him down, maybe knock him out of the game, but your mates are seeing a lot of what he has.
Yeah, that was good calls, guys. Good calls. So let's look ahead here. Let's look ahead toward this upcoming week. Well, first, let's look ahead to center field with the Phillies. Brandon Marshall went on the injured list today, backdated 3 days, right? I guess Johan Rojas is going to get some more time. That's what we're all expecting, right? I can't imagine Cal Stevenson's going to be in there too much. Can they kind of hold the fort down with Johan Rojas? Other than that 3 strikeout game on Monday, he has been okay. Do you not agree?
Had a good weekend. I thought he hit a lot of fastballs, but I still think he struggles with spin. But you know what? You'll take it. I'm sure it was really good for his confidence, and he's going to see some time here over the next few days with Marsh out. And Marsh had been struggling in a big way. I would imagine, this is going to provide the team. Not that they needed an excuse, but to provide them a way to get him to AAA, maybe at the end for some rehab time and a chance maybe to work on some things and build some confidence before coming back. I don't know. Do you see that happening?
Yes, and I think it's a great thing because the man needs at bats, needs to get himself right, and if he can do it at that level while he's rehabbing, then there's no pressure on him. Those at bats really don't mean anything other than getting him straightened. and I think he really needs it. And I think it's a good way for him to exhale too. What is he over his last 26?
Yeah,
Something like that. Some crazy number. He get exhale, get a little confidence. He'll probably rake those guys because the AAA pitching is horse manure, and then maybe get himself right, so that when he gets back to the big leagues, he can help this ball club because they need him. They need him. They need all the bats they can get to try to lengthen out that lineup.
and
Jim,
you get him some time in AAA and psychology 101. I know it's semantics, but you didn't have to demote him. I mean, he goes there.
Right.
He goes there on a rehab assignment, and I'm sure it just plays on your psyche a little bit better. So than a demotion.
Jim, you mentioned Johan with the breaking ball, and he has hit 462 this season against fastballs, 167 this season against the breaking ball. So that's
so
amazing.
the Mets, I'm sure, know that. They know that, and they're going to be spinning. So do the Cubs.
It's also known as Amaro-itis.
That's correct. Mom, I'm coming home. They're throwing breaking balls. Mom, I'm about ready to get released. They're throwing me breaking balls now. Although I could hit breaking balls right-handed, I couldn't hit them left-handed. Very well. A hanging slider, I could hit left-handed, but they didn't throw too many of those to me.
What's Mom cooking today?
We're going with Chinese food, of course.
Oh, very good, very good. Well, I want you to get to your Chinese food. So let's look ahead real quick at this Mets series. I'm going to go over the pitching matchups real quick. It's a rematch, guys. In case you didn't know, 2024 NLDS rematch. First time the Phillies have faced the Mets. Monday night, everybody's going to be watching this game. Not just because of Phillies versus Mets, but because Aaron Nola is on the mound. Aaron Nola, 0-4, 6.65 ERA versus Tyler McGill, 2-2, 1.40 ERA. Tuesday night, muy delicioso, Christopher Sanchez versus Griffin Canning. And then Wednesday night in the series finale, Zach Wheeler versus David Peterson. It's going to be a fun series, potentially.
Yeah, the Phillies don't swing the bats well against McGill or Peterson, if I recall correctly, just off the top of my head. They struggle with Peterson for whatever reason, and they struggle with McGill, I think, a little bit as well. So, and it's a big one for Nola, man. He needs to get himself right. He needs to be right because they're going to come out guns a-blazing. They got a little mojo going over there in New York. So, it'll be interesting to see how he responds. He never gets nervous or worked up. That's not his style. I think he just needs to be able to execute, and hopefully he can.
Mets just swept the Cardinals.
Right.
Soto drove in 3 on Sunday. I mean, he's not off to a sizzling start, but he appears to be warming. He's heard some boos because you got to perform right out of the. You got to perform right out of the gate.
Making $800 million, you better do something.
They've been killing him on Sports Talk up there, I guess. WFAN been killing Juan Soto.
He's got no protection.
Yeah, he's got no protection right now.
They should trade for Judge.
That would solve a lot of problems. But yeah,
it should be a great series.
It really should be a great series, and I am looking forward to seeing what Aaron Nola can do on Monday night. You know, he was about as he never really expresses any emotion, as you guys know, but that was about as disgusted as he sounded in his last start, saying it's unacceptable. So he's got to step it up. Ranger Suarez is going to make a rehab appearance on Tuesday. Tripoli Lehigh Valley. Taijuan Walker, of course, we didn't even talk about this, left the game on Saturday with some stiffness in his right shoulder. He says he'll be able to make his next scheduled start, which I think is Friday against the Cubs. And, of course, Andrew Painter is going to make another start this week with Single A Clearwater. So those things are coming up. Man, if Taijuan's shoulder's not better, I mean, maybe I guess Rangers probably only got maybe one more rehab start, maybe one.
I think he's got one or two, probably two.
Probably two more. But if Taijuan's shoulder is not feeling great, maybe they just bring him back after one more on Tuesday. We'll see about that. So, guys. Oh, you know what I wanted to mention? I just wanted to get your thoughts on this. You know, everybody's kind of, the bullpen and the Phillies and, some of the struggles that they've been having. How about this? I don't know if you guys saw this today. So Jared Kelenic the other night in Atlanta does not run out. I think he did not run out of ground, or did not run out a ball that was hit off the wall and was held to a single. Correct, Jim?
He home run trotted it. He home
run trotted a ball. I don't know, Ruben, if you saw this or not. He home
No.
run trotted a ball, held at first base. So Mark Bowman, my colleague at MLB.com, somebody tweets at him and says, did anybody ask him this? And he says, yes, he was asked, Brian Snitker. Did you say anything to Jared Kelenic? And Brian Snitker says, was I supposed to? And then Ronald Acuna Jr. responds to the tweet from Mark Bowman and says, if it were me, they would take me out of the game. That's an interesting little inside the club.
Very, very, very interesting.
A lot of layers
that's
there.
what happens when you start to lose. Stuff happens.
Wow. A lot of tweeting going on. Jazz Chisholm tweeting after he gets booted on the other day in New York. He gets suspended.
Didn't he tweet during the game?
He tweeted during the game after he got ejected. Yes. Yes.
I don't think that's the smartest thing to do.
No.
I'm not sure, but I don't think that's the smartest thing to do.
Anyway, I wanted to mention that because that absolutely blew me away that Ronald Acuna Jr. answered a tweet from a reporter saying I would be pulled out of the game if that happened to me. Jared Kelenic, he's not even getting disciplined at all. So
there's a lot of layers to that one.
Fun times in Atlanta. Well,
Alex Anthopoulos could have he's got some stuff going on. I mean, if that team doesn't get rolling, then they're playing better. Don't rule them out, man. That's a good team. It's a talented team.
Yeah.
If they don't start jumping closer and closer to 500, never know.
How would you handle that as the GM? How would you address that?
I would have a little chat with Ronald.
Would you have a
little chat with Brian and a little chat with Brian Snitker
and the guy who loafed it, who couldn't
I'd let the manager handle that. That's not my job.
But the manager said he didn't seem like he wanted to handle.
This was the Ronald Acuna thing was an off the field thing. The Jared Kelenic thing was an on the field thing. I let my manager handle that, but I talked to him about it. So, we have a chat.
Fun.
And I love Brian Snitker. Love him.
Yeah, I got to cover a couple postseason series when the Phillies were playing them, and then when the Phillies weren't playing them, and he's always impressed me. So, nevertheless, as they say, yeah.
There's always stuff when you're losing.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we'll be back later this week to talk about the first few games of this Mets series, and of course, we'll be back later in the week to talk about this weekend series against the Cubbies at Wrigley Field, so it's a big week for the Phillies. Six big road games. Phillies need to turn out and turn up. So, as the kids like to say, right?
Turn out and turn up.
That's right, man. I'll see you guys later.
Smell you later, boys.
Smell you, Jim.
The Philly Show is brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Subscribe to The Philly Show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. If you like us, give us a review. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, and Threads. Find Ruben's analysis before, during, and after Phillies games on NBC Sports Philadelphia, on the Sports Radio 94 WIP Morning Show, and MLB Network. Find Jim at allphly.com. Find me at MLB.com, the Phillies Beat newsletter, and MLB Network.